Test. Hello.
And I saw Emily sitting on the side.
I'd like to call the town council meeting to order. If you can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Marker will now read the names of any police officers that have been murdered since our last meeting.
Trooper Aaron Smith of the Indiana State Police, Indiana, end of watch Wednesday, June 28th, cause of death, vehicular assault. Sergeant Heather Glenn of the Tell City Police Department, Indiana, end of watch Monday, July 3rd, cause of death, gunfire. Detective Delberth Phipps, Jr. of the Virgin Islands Police Department, Virgin Islands, end of watch Tuesday, July 4th, cause of death, gunfire. Firefighter Sean Luke Daniel of the Georgia Forestry Commission, last call June 5th, cause of death, heart attack. Firefighter William Bill John McHale of the Vermillion Township Fire Department and Rescue of Vermillion, Ohio, last call June 10th, cause of death, heart attack. Firefighter Stuart Guy Hunt of the Ancram Fire Department of Ancram, New York, last call June 15th, cause of death currently unknown. Firefighter Brian Joseph LaTrent of Bayville Fire Department of Bayville, New Jersey, last call June 21st, cause of death, heart attack. Firefighter Bobby Blue Smith of Ware County Fire Department, Waycross, Georgia, last call June 22nd, cause of death, vehicle accident. Firefighter Lloyd Rudinger of the New Haven Beringer Fire District of New Haven, Missouri, last call June 26th, cause of death, heart attack. Chief Hal Matthew Hankenruth of the South Richard Fire Department, located in Defiance, Ohio, last call June 27th, cause of death, pulmonary embolism. And finally, firefighter Bryce C. Trosbach of the Naval District Fire Department, Poxatuck River, Maryland, last call June 27th, cause of death, fell through floor while fighting a firefighting structure.
Do we have a pastor tonight? Okay, all right. We have the roll call, please.
Councilmember Jim Marker,
Present.
Councilmember Larry Balla,
Present.
Council President Rick Rifa,
President.
Councilmember Melissa Robbins,
Present.
Councilmember Tony Hobson.
Present.
Right, each member has received a copy of the June 20th minutes. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Could we have the claims, please?
Claims totaling from various funds, $6,288,898.30.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Could we have the announcements, please?
We have two announcements this evening. The next town council meeting will be on Tuesday, July 18th at 7 p.m. There will be a study session before the meeting at 6:30, and one will follow if necessary. Second announcement, there will be a water board meeting Tuesday, July 18th, following the town council meeting.
Do we have the communications, please?
We do. We have a request from Hope Church requesting to utilize one of the rooms at the Franklin Center throughout the weeks and months for different meetings. I make a motion that we take that under advisement and we speak with them to find out exactly what they're needing.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
And then we have a request from the Lake Area Recovery requesting a use of a larger room for their District 13th meeting on July 12th from 4:45 to 8 o'clock at the Franklin Center. I make a motion that we approve them using a larger room for that meeting.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Reports, any reports? Public Works?
No report.
Fire? No. All right, there is no finance or commission report. This time we'll take public comment on any specific agenda item that we're about to address or vote on. If anybody has a comment or a question before we do that. All right, we'll go straight to new business. We have representatives from the South Shore Visitors Authority here, and they wanted to give a little short presentation on some of the good things that they're doing at within the community.
You told me I had about 45 minutes?
Will do.
Thank you. Well, good evening. I'll introduce myself. My name is David Duran. I'm the President and CEO of the South Shore Convention Visitors Authority. With me tonight, I have our Chairman, Nick Linnell, and our Chief Operating Officer, Greg Falkowski, and we're also here representing behalf of Matt Schuster, who is your representative on the board itself. We're here just kind of, we're doing a tour of all municipalities in Northwest Indiana that we represent to kind of give you a lay of the land, an update on what we do, and how we are partnering with communities such as yourself, and how tourism is a big impact economically for Northwest Indiana. We do have a presentation slide here, so as I go through this, crowd is here with you tonight. You can also see themselves as we go forward. And what you have is a handout for your public record, is exactly what's displayed here tonight. So, thank you, Council Presidents and distinct council members. Thank you for being here tonight and serving your community. If we go to the next slide, our tagline is building a stronger tourism industry, one visitor at a time. And we continue to showcase Northwest Indiana, what we have to offer from our attractions, from our national park, our shorelines of Lake Michigan, to our beautiful downtowns. We have something that really display and attract people from outside the area, but more importantly, from town to town, city to city as well. So we are actually going through our 40th anniversary this year, and we have an acronym. Go to the next slide. 40 years, forging opportunities for residents, travelers, and youth sports. And that's very important because as tourism and who we represent is, again, visitors and also your community residents that go from town to town. Oh, thanks. What do? A lot of people think the South Shore, we're not the train, okay? We get a lot of people call us and I have to give train schedules out pretty much every day. But we are not the train, but we really do encourage public transportation and people to come to Northwest Indiana. Next slide, please. We prospect, secure, and host sporting events. Okay, we prospect and do a lot of different things to bring people to Northwest Indiana, to bring those dollars here. Next slide, please.
He needs to go more.
And the next slide. Tourism in Lake County is a billion, I said with a B, $1 billion industry. And that's made up of a lot of different things we do here. When you start to look at community events, these are some pictures of your own backyard here that bring people to your downtown, okay? Hundreds of thousands of people embark in Griffith on an annual basis. And you guys play a big part in the tourism industry that's out there. And I'm gonna get into more details about what that means to your residents. We market, next slide please. We market leisure and travel regional residents. So our area guide talks about all those attractions, all those partners that not only come from Lake County, but our neighboring counties as well. As a visitor comes through here, they don't see city or town boundaries, they don't see county lines, they just see what's great in Northwest Indiana. So it's our job to work with our partners as well, to really make sure that we put our best foot forward so they have a great time. And eventually, some of those visitors end up being your residents here in Lake County. We promote region and business attractions. Next slide, please. You know, those are like Albany's, who's also celebrating their 40th anniversary as well. Festival of Lakes, your festival's here in Griffith as well. I believe you have a big one coming up here, Rock and Rail, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Pretty popular, right? Progy Fest, all those things that are out there that are very important to the region. Next slide, please. What are the benefits of tourism? I think that's the biggest question that's out there. What do we do and what benefit do we have back to you? We go to the next slide. With tourism, you have community investments. I mean, you guys have the Griffith Generals now coming to for baseball here. You've got your landmark bike trails, your Blues Fest that comes through here. Obviously, your Rocket Rails. That leads to new community opportunities for people that have businesses here to have more people embark in those locations, or attracts new businesses to come to your downtown and really make it stronger for you guys to be beneficial in your dollars that you collect. Next slide, please. Lake County tourism highlights. Here is where it really gets interesting. Okay, next slide. These are like piecemeal as we go through. Okay, so you keep going through. 1.1 billion, we talked about before. This study was done by the Rockport Analytics back here in February 2023 for 2021. just like taxes, you gotta wait a year to collect, right, and see the data coming through. But $1.1 billion was the highest ever in Lake County for tourism. It created over 15,000 jobs. It has $494 million in total wages, $221 million in total federal, state, and local tax revenues, and $774 million in total economic impact for the region. What this does, as you start to look at it, and here it is in a snapshot, the next slide, with over 190,000 households in Lake County, each resident who lives here and pays taxes saves $633 that typically would come from some other source and use. Typically, when you start looking at your $16 million budget, give or take $1 or $2, right? You would have to come up with $4.5 million, all right, 7,000 households here in Griffin, population of 27,000. $4.5 million comes from outside sources that people leave here in your community to support your business and trade and help provide resources and cushions so you can continue to reinvest in other things, your quality of life, your Central Park, your roads, police and fire, gives you that flexibility. That's a huge amount of number, not only for Griffin, but Lake County in general. Just think about it, over 190,000 houses, $633 per household. Our job through tourism is to continue to work with municipalities such as yourself, to continue to raise that from 633, let's get it to 7, 8, to 1,000. And what that does for you guys, gives you the ability to reinvest in other things that are important to your community. Next slide, please. Yep, there it is. And the next slide. So the South Shore CBA, cities and towns, it opens the door for new economic opportunities. We're here to continue to work with you to see how we can partner through your private sector, through municipality. We are here to help you guys evolve and make your book of business even stronger. We are a true support system for you guys as an organization. And when you start to put visitors in front of businesses, next slide, please. Summer festivals. You see the downtown, you see Central Park, you see everybody at the festivals. I always talk about, as a former mayor, and now where I'm at now, is our job is to put as many people in front of the private side as possible, okay? I always talk to chambers, and I always ask that question, if you guys, do you need people to sell your book of business? Or is there a business out there that you don't need people to, right? And all those hands say, yes, you need visitors, you need people to be able to buy your book of business. The private side and the public side. The public side is to put people in front of the door. The private side is for them to have a product that's gonna go inside their doors. And if they can't go inside, come out and look at all those thousands of people you guys put in front of them, right? When you start to look at the information that you guys have out there, we have what's called Datafy. We're actually collect this big brother stuff. We didn't create this, okay? It's just this is where we are in the world today. Everybody's got an iPhone, everybody's got Facebook. You're talking to your friends, and all of a sudden you talk about a product you wanna buy. What happens on Facebook? It shows up on your phone. That's just where we're at in the world, right?
Yeah.
We're able to capture that same data. So we looked at a couple things. Your two biggest events, your Rock and Rail and your Blues Brews Barbecue Fest, right? So in your packet there, we kind of showed last year what kind of impact that had. So in the events last year for the Rock and Rail, you had about 91% of your population that came here were in-state, about just under 9% are out of state. But you had about just based on this data too, and this is the only one that walks around with a credit card and spends money on the average of $30 a piece, so that number could be even higher. This is the basic minimum. You had over 16,000 people that were collected information on that one event, okay? What that translates to is, how many of those were Griffith residents? Okay? The Griffith residents on that event were roughly about 40%, okay? That's telling you guys are providing a product for your residents that really like that quality of life. Okay, so you guys are investing in your own residents here who can see that value. But more importantly, you were drawing people from Highland, Gary, Crown Point, Maryville, Sherrill, Hammond, Dyer, Munster, Hobart, and Chicago for that event. This gets back to the point where point of sale, city to city, town to town, you guys were providing a quality of life for the region itself. For that, just under $500,000 of economic impact was spent on the private side by you guys investing publicly. So let's say, for example, if you spent $50,000 on an event to make sure it's going on for quality of life through taxpayer dollars, you had a 10-to-1 ratio in dollars going back to the community on the private side. That's a great investment. We want to applaud you for that because that's exactly the message we want to put out there. For every dollar we spend, if we can get anywhere from 6 to 10 back, tourism is working. And you guys are really leading by that, by going forward that way. The other event we looked at was your barbecue, Blues and Barbecue Fest. Again, consistency is everything, right? You had about 16,000 people that showed up for that as well, okay? And about 40% of those were Griffith residents, and you had just under a $500,000 impact of that event as well. So those two major events brought in, 32,000 people, okay? Half those are your Griffith residents, and people are spending money in the private side. Those are pretty good formulas to have out there. So, on behalf of us, we're doing this with each community. We're looking at a couple different events, showcasing things that you guys are doing well, showing how the partnership of tourism works together, and the impact that tourism has that people maybe take for granted. Because basically, you timeshare your residency, right? You timeshare your bike trails, you timeshare your parks and sports venues, all right? But that brings people in, and they use their disposable income, they leave it here. It gives relief to the taxpayers that you guys serve each and every day. So I'm here to answer any questions you guys might have, but more importantly, we're here to show you that we're a good partner, and we want to continue to work with you guys, because you guys are doing very well here in Griffith.
Anybody have any questions? All right, thank you for.
Appreciate the time, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we will now go to the next item, Mr. Marker.
Yes, sir. On June 20th, as you all remember, we had a bid opening here. And we have a letter here from BF&S, say they have reviewed the construction quotes for the above referenced project, which is Oak and Broad Light Installation. And found that Midwest Electric LLC quote to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder with an actual low bid of $49,225, which is less than the engineer's estimate. Based on the recommendation for BF&S, I make a recommendation that we have Councilman Rifa sign off on this agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Next item, Mr. Hobson.
Yes, we have a vacancy on the Plan Commission, and I would like to nominate Dan Blount.
I'll second that nomination.
All right, we have a motion and a second to appoint Dan Blount to the Plan Commission. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. He is our new appointment. Next, Mr. Bala. We have a public hearing concerning additional appropriations. I will open up the public hearing, and if you'd
Okay.
like to read the notice prior
Sure.
to that. So the public hearing is now open, and Mr. Bala, if you'd like to read the notice.
The residents and taxpayers of the town of Griffith, Indiana are hereby notified that the town council of the town will hold a public hearing at 7 PM local time on July 6, 2023 at the town hall on the matter of appropriating the proceeds of a proposed issuance of Griffith General Obligation Bonds, Series 2023. The principal amount of the bonds will not exceed $2,500,000. These proceeds, together with all interest earnings thereon, will be used for the purpose of paying all or any portion of the cost of certain capital projects in the town. Said appropriation is in addition to any appropriations provided for in the existing budget and tax levy. At said public hearing, all persons shall have the right to appear and be heard on the necessity of said appropriation.
All right, the public hearing is open. Would anybody like to speak for or against, or any other comment on this? Anybody like to speak? Yes.
Do you guys have a list of capital projects that you're going to share?
Not a complete list yet. Part of it will be the prepayment of the purchase of the price of the house we had purchased, as well as some engineering fees. The town, or the redevelopment commission, also purchased a house on Main Street that's formerly Andy's Auto Body, and we may be looking at another property there as well. So that list hasn't been fully compiled yet, but the other thing, it will help reimburse any expenses that we've incurred from our general fund or budget in prior years. Anybody else? Last call. All right, the public hearing is closed. So we have an ordinance.
I do, I have that. Ordinance number 2023-21, ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Griffith, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of the general obligation bonds for the purpose of providing funds to pay for certain park projects and various other capital expenditures and incidental expenses in connection therewith and on account of the issuance of the bonds and appropriating the proceeds thereof. I make a motion that we suspend the rules to pass this ordinance tonight.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Jim Marker,
In favor.
Larry Balla,
In favor.
Rick Rifa,
In favor?
Melissa Robbins,
In favor.
Tony Hobson.
In favor.
The rules are suspended.
I make a motion that we pass ordinance number 2023-21.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion carries. Do we have any other business from the council? All right, time to open the floor for public comment. If there has a comment or a question, just please state your name.
I do have a question regarding the Oak and Broad lighting installation. Is that providing additional lighting for crossing?
Yes, on both sides of the street, I believe.
Okay.
So. Anybody else? All right, for those that helped on the parade, thank you so much. It was a very good success, very well attended, one of the better ones we've seen in many years. And went out without a hitch, it looked like, so, thank you.
Yes.
All right, if seeing no other business, the meeting's adjourned.
I hope you sit back there, because I have a massive freaking headache.
That's crazy.
Amen to that.
Well, maybe a little.
It's a
Maybe a little.
thyroid issue.
Maybe a little.
Water.
No. Oh,